Was Prime Minister from 1990 to 1997, taking the reins upon the resignation of Margaret, now Baroness Thatcher. He's kept a relatively low profile since leaving office, though was seen this summer enjoying the Olympics. Now he's set to reveal a part of his life that most of us know nothing about, his unconventional upbringing in the home of a father with a passion for music hall. But first, here he is in his former day job.
The Prime Minister of our country, John Major.
We've won tonight a magnificent victory. A victory that many people thought was beyond our grasp.
And with that, John Major moved firmly out of Mrs. Thatcher's shadow. He made this moment his own.
The result, I think, that has surprised one or two people, but not the Conservative Party. I'm very pleased with it, and it's nice to be back, and I look forward to what we can do there in the next 5 years.
17 months ago, he was installed in number 10 by his party. Today, he occupies it with the endorsement of the country.
Now regarded justifiably as an elder statesman, please welcome Sir John Major. John, the book's got a lovely title, My Old Man, as in said follow the van. You kept quite quiet about it during the time in office, but it struck me, actually, thinking about it, in a way, you probably felt you'd gone into music hall yourself at some times.
Well, firstly, thank you for two things. Thank you for showing a videotape of me over 20 years ago, which is great. And secondly, for not subjecting my handwriting to the graphologist. I'm very grateful on both those sides.
You might be as shocked as I was. Yeah.
I might have been.
So, now tell me about your pa. So, his job, his line was in musical. He was a professional musical
Well, he was
performer.
a trapeze artist first. He was a trapeze artist. He was born in England in 1879. He was 64 when I was born, which was a bit of a surprise to my mum. and he went to live in America, where my grandfather was helping build the Carnegie Steelworks. And as a young man, he did a number of things. He was a trapeze artist. And then he came to England, and at some stage in the about 1901, 1902, he went into show business as a music hall artist and stayed there for the next 30 years.
Yeah. There's a wonderful handbill he brought, which is Tom
Yes.
and Kitty Major. So Kitty was...
Kitty was Dad's first wife.
Yeah.
She and he were married for 25 years, but she was killed. She was on stage rehearsing, and a safety curtain fell and hit her.
Gosh.
And she was seriously injured and then died.
Yeah.
And my mother then was a young dancer in Dad's revue show, and later they married, and he remained in show business for a while. And then about 1929, 1930, he gave up show business and started doing other things.
Yeah. Were you aware of this as a boy then? Were there always musical songs being sung around the house?
Oh, gosh, yes. When I was about 8, my father, then in his early 70s, was ill. His sight began to go and he lost all his money. And we moved from our home in Worcester Park on the outskirts of London to Brixton. And Dad was pretty soon bedridden most of the time. My brother and sister were 13, 15 years older than me, so I was at home. And I was the one who spent most of the time sitting at his bedside talking to him. And he talked about his days in music hall. And he just came alive. When he was obviously been very active, lonely and bored, bedridden, and I sat with him, and he'd just talk about what it was like, what life was like in show business, what he'd done in music hall, the people he'd met, Mari Lloyd, Dan Leno, Gertie Gaetano, Harry Houdini, all sorts of astonishing people who were just names to most people, but they were flesh and blood to Dad. And he passed that love on to me.
I'm going to say they must have become flesh and blood almost to you. It clearly was a magical time then.
Oh, totally magical. And when he was dying, lots of elderly people, his own sort of vintage, who were rather shabbily dressed, who had clearly never known prosperity, or if they had, it had long ago left them, came to revisit him. And they stood at his bedside and they talked over old times. They drank tea or whiskey, depending on what was available. And they performed their old tricks and sang their old songs and read their own monologues. And I sat there enthralled, and I thought, these people had nothing material at all. And yet their lives were happy. They were in the toughest profession of all. Show business is tougher than politics. And they have a huge love of what they used to do. And that's what I've tried to write about.
Do you think, in a way, then, some of his performing talents came out in you? Because, you know, politicians have to perform.
Well, obviously not. I mean, I was told that I was the only person to run away from a circus to join an accountancy firm. But I suppose to an extent, when I first stood on a soapbox in Brixton Market, I liked that, and I found that comfortable. I found the face-to-face flesh contact with audiences and people much easier than the fisheye of the television camera.
Yeah. It's interesting, without being either rude or personal to you, anybody who meets you...
Now I know you're terrifyingly ambitious. I won't... And aggressive.
No.
I won't say. You say what you like.
Sorry. But you have a magic way with people. You are very, very good with people. When people meet you, they say, I'd no idea he was like that. Now, I'm not doing you down as your image as Prime Minister, but anybody who meets you...
You couldn't do down my image as Prime Minister. Lots of people got at it.
But you are good with folk. It's clear that you like people's company.
I like people, yes,
Yeah.
I do.
But you've almost disappeared now in terms of public life. What's happened to you now? What are you doing now?
Well, I learned during my years in politics that it's a good idea for ex-prime ministers to keep out of the way.
So there was a smatter of applause, and gratitude, I think. So what excites you?
They can do a lot of harm and not much good.
What excites you now, though? What do you occupy yourself doing?
Well, I'm very heavily involved in a range of charities. I write. I've got a lot of business interests. I spend about 5 months of the year travelling around the world because I advise people on what is going on. I won't lobby. I absolutely refuse to lobby, and I won't open my address book. But I will advise on what's going on around the world. And I spend about 5 months of the year, and having been in politics, you have an access to businessmen and governments overseas to find out what is going on. The world's a pretty exciting place at the moment. There's a huge amount happening. It's changing at a faster rate than I think it has ever done in the past.
Do you think you can still make a difference, you yourself, now? Do you want to, still?
I speak about politics very rarely, but when there's a big issue, a constitutional issue, or something I feel very strongly about, then I will speak out, yes. Yeah. But I think I've no wish to become a rent-a-quote. I've no wish... What do I want to be in newspapers and on television for? Nothing, really. If I've something to say, I will say it. If I haven't anything to say that I think will be helpful, then I'll keep my opinions to our private conversations.
Seems to me an awfully good idea. It's been a delight to talk to you.
My pleasure.
My Old Man, A Personal History of Music Hall, is out now, and a great read it is too. My thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Sir John Major. Thank you.